Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep, deep into the life and legacy of Walt Disney.
Oh, yeah.
We've got excerpts from this text celebrating his life, and it's like opening a toy box overflowing with stories, fun facts,
Hmm.
and maybe a few things that'll surprise you. We're going way beyond those Mickey Mouse ears everybody knows
Right.
to uncover like the fuller picture of the man behind the magic.
Absolutely. It's amazing how, even with an icon like Walt Disney,
Yeah.
there are always more layers to peel back.
It really is. Okay, so to start things off, let's rewind all the way back to his childhood.
Okay.
Did you know Walt actually played Peter Pan in a school play?
Oh, he did. And his brother Roy, he rigged up a whole system of ropes
Wow.
to make him, like, fly across the stage. Even as a kid, Walt just had this way of bringing fantasy to life.
That's so cool. And I feel like it speaks to this bigger thing that keeps popping up in his work, right? This deep desire to recapture that like childlike wonder.
Totally. And it's not just the Peter Pan thing. When you think about it, it's all over his films. Imagination, adventure, good always wins.
Right. It's like he was always trying to recreate that childhood magic, but not just for himself,
Right.
but for everyone watching.
Exactly. For the whole world. And that drive, that creativity,
Yeah.
it showed up early. During World War I, Walt really wanted to join the army.
Really?
But he was too young, so what did he do? Forged his birth certificate to enlist.
Oh, wow. That takes guts.
It does. And even though he didn't see much action, it shows how resourceful he was, ambitious.
Right.
Stuff that would be huge for him later on.
And speaking of huge, we got to talk about Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Can you picture a world without him?
Oh, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the story of how he came to be, that's all about resilience.
Oh.
So Walt lost the rights to his first character,
No way.
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Can you imagine how tough that must have been?
Oh, devastating.
Yeah, totally. But on the train back to California, feeling down but not out, inspiration hits him, and bam, Mickey Mouse is born.
Talk about turning a negative into a positive, right?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
then Steamboat Willie comes out in 1928.
Oh, yeah. Groundbreaking.
Lieutenant.
First cartoon with synchronized sound, A&D animation. Changed everything.
Totally revolutionized things.
Yeah. And Walt was always pushing boundaries, wasn't he?
He was, but it wasn't just films. And then he goes and creates Disneyland.
Oh, yeah?
And Disneyland, that wasn't just an amusement park.
Right.
It was like a whole world carefully crafted
Yeah.
for people to step right into his imagination.
And he was involved in every little thing, wasn't he? I mean, he even had a secret apartment built above the fire station on Main Street.
He did, with a lamp in the window
Yeah.
to signal when he was there. It shows how personal Disneyland was for him,
It really does. So we've seen this journey from this kid who loves stories to a man who changed animation forever
Yeah.
and built a theme park empire. What a life.
It's incredible, really is. Yeah, remarkable. But like with any legacy, you got to look at the whole picture, right?
Yeah.
And with Disney, that means some pretty big controversies.
Yeah, it's not all pixie dust and happy endings. There's some darker stuff we need to talk about.
For sure. One of the most shocking, the White Wilderness thing.
Oh, yeah.
This documentary, 1958, it showed all these lemmings jumping off cliffs. Like,
Right.
it was just their natural thing to do, right? Years later, comes out, the whole thing was staged. They
Yeah.
bought the lemmings, threw them off the cliffs to the camera.
Like messed up. Makes you think, what else did they fake just to make it exciting?
It does, right? Like, how ethical was filmmaking back then? You got to be accurate, even if it means losing a dramatic scene.
Yeah. And it shows how easy it is to be tricked by what you see on TV.
Totally. Especially when they're saying it's, real.
Yeah. Big reminder to think for yourself, even with documentaries.
Absolutely. Always be a little skeptical.
Then you got how fiercely Disney protected his stuff. Like, remember those daycare centers in Florida?
Oh, yeah.
He had murals of Mickey Mouse and all that. He went after them.
He did. People were not happy about it. A company all about kids and families coming down hard on daycares.
It did seem kind of, I don't know, too much.
Yeah, like, where's the line between protecting what you made and letting people be creative, especially in places like that?
It really makes you think, right?
Yeah, about copyright law. Was Disney squashing creativity instead of protecting it, Big debate.
And then there were the accusations about animals being mistreated at Discovery Island, wasn't there?
At Disney World, people said employees were hurting birds, shooting hawks, messing with nests and all that.
It's awful, especially for a company that's supposed to be all wholesome and family friendly.
Totally. It just seemed to go against everything Disney stood for.
Right. And it raises the question, like, how should animals be treated, especially for a company that uses them so much in their branding and all their stories?
Definitely. And we can't forget about the whole thing with the communal underwear for the Disney cast members.
Oh.
I mean, they had to share underwear.
Yeah.
Led to some real health problems.
It's hard to square that with the happiest place on earth.
Right. Makes you wonder how they really treated the people who work there, the ones who create the magic, so to speak.
Yeah, it does. And it shows how important it is to treat workers fairly, to care about their well-being, even in a place that's all about fun and fantasy.
Exactly. Good thing that was eventually sorted out with the unions.
There's also been a lot of talk about the way race is portrayed in some of Disney's early films.
Oh, yeah, like Dumbo and The Jungle Book.
Yeah, people say they show some harmful stereotypes.
Right. We got to acknowledge that part of Disney's story. Things were different back then. What was okay then isn't okay now.
Yeah, even the classics can have things that were, well, wrong for the time.
Makes you think, got to be critical viewers, see those things for what they are.
Yeah, and talk about them, how things have changed, how representation and all that has gotten better.
It has. Okay, so we've seen this other side of Disney alongside all the amazing stuff he did, controversies and ethical questions.
Yeah, what's your take on all this?
Well, it shows that even the biggest names, they're complicated. Their legacy isn't just black and white. We got to look at the whole thing, the good and the bad, and talk about it all.
I agree. What jumps out at you as a listener, what really hits home for you, out of everything we talked about Walt Disney, his creativity, all the controversies, what do you think will have the biggest impact going forward?
Wow. It's kind of wild, right? We've learned so much about Walt Disney today.
Yeah.
From like his early days drawing to, changing the world of entertainment.
Yeah, and how tied up it all is with these ethical things.
Uh-huh.
Creativity, how culture changes.
Yeah, and it makes you realize even cartoons and theme parks, they can bring up these big issues.
They really can.
You know what I keep thinking about? That white wilderness thing with the lemmings?
It's just crazy to think you can't always believe what you see on TV.
Right.
Not even in documentaries.
It's true. It makes you think about like the people making the films, how much power they have,
Yeah.
and us watching. We got to be smarter about what we believe.
Makes you wonder how many other stories, documentaries, even the news.
Right.
Maybe we shouldn't take everything at face value.
Yeah. Totally. Got to be more critical about the information we're getting, why they're showing it to us.
And remember, there's often more to it than what's right there on the surface.
Exactly. So as we wrap this up, this deep dive into Walt Disney, think about this. How do you think his legacy will change going forward?
Oh, that's a good question. We've seen how people have reinterpreted his work over time, haven't we?
Yeah.
What do you think will stick around? His vision, his creative stuff, the storytelling, and what might, fade away or people see it differently in the future?
Yeah. How will our values shape how we see his work in the years to come?
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about.
It really is. And we hope you keep thinking about it, too. Share your thoughts, maybe online or with friends, family. What does Walt Disney's legacy mean to you?
At the end of the day, the stories we tell, the ones we make and the ones we watch, they show who we are.
That's a good point. On that note, I think we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of Walt Disney.
Yeah, I think so.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring his life, his work, and all the complexities, the good and the bad.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep diving deep into the things that interest you.
See ya.